The time is just gone 11 minutes past 8 a.m. as we kick off this morning looking at the conflict that is taking place. We're talking about the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and the world at this point in time is in shock at the events that are playing out, that are taking place in Ukraine. Now, according to Russia, these operations are being carried out by Moscow against military targets, and the aim is neutralizing Ukrainian aggression. But whatever the reasons are, one thing, it is clear that there are huge global consequences, and we see a lot of international pressure coming through. We see severe financial sanctions being implemented against Russia. And as things stand, the crisis is being seen by Russia as an aggressive dictatorship, and Ukraine seeing it as a victimized democracy. The key question remains, what is reality? What are the facts? And to unpack the conflict from a Ukrainian perspective this morning, we are joined by Her Excellency, the Ambassador to South Africa, the Ukrainian Ambassador to South Africa, Ms. Liubov Abravitov. Your Excellency, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. So, as you know, yesterday, a full-scale armed conflict in the very heart of Europe was launched by Russia. Aggressor state crossed Ukraine's border from Russia and Belarus and launched missiles on cities, attacked with aviation, tanks, and artillery, sent their military groups in all the major cities of Ukraine. Today at 5 o'clock, our capital was experiencing a ballistic missile attack. You can check, there are a lot of videos and pictures in social media from people, from innocent people. I think the Russian regime already decided that they don't respect any kind of international law or any provision of UN Charter. That's what we are seeing. To update you on the recent situation with our losses. So as of midnight yesterday, we have 137 Ukrainian military killed and 316 wounded. And our Ministry of Defense confirms that about 800 Russian soldiers been killed.
Now, Ambassador, I've seen your tweet and where you are saying, and let's just try and interpret this crisis, where in your tweet you're saying that horrific Russian rocket strikes on Kyiv. Last time our capital experienced anything like this was in 1941 when it was attacked by Nazi Germany. Ukraine defeated that evil and will defeat this one. Stop Putin, isolate Russia, sever all ties, kick Russia out of everywhere. Just your comment on this tweet, Ambassador.
I think that it says for itself, and I quoted my minister who emotionally wrote this tweet 2 hours ago, I guess. And this is the message. It is our clear message to all the democratic countries in this world. Altogether, we can stop this Russists. We can do it through isolation of this aggressive state, because now it's not about Ukraine. Now it's a global threat. Now we are talking about our modern values. So every country has to be concerned. This is the message.
Yes. Now, let's just try and unpack some of the issues as far as the conflict is concerned. Now, Ukraine does see these Russian actions as an invasion. And also, at the same time, there are accusations against Ukraine saying that Ukraine is refusing to implement the Minsk Accords. And Russia saying that this is a civil conflict and they want to put an end to the killing of ethnic Russian populations.
But this is the old song of Russia. They already did it in Moldova, in Georgia, in Azerbaijan, in Armenia. Now they are doing the same scenario in Ukraine. They delivered Russian passports to 2 million people in the east of Ukraine, and they now are trying to say that this is the Russian population. But the story is not about this. Let's first of all acknowledge that Russia invaded Ukraine first time in 2014, and they annexed the part of sovereign territory of Ukraine, which is Crimea. And Ukraine had to go for the Minsk agreement, acknowledging their or our desire to resolve the conflict diplomatically. And you must understand that according to the Minsk agreements, the compromises that we did were really very strong, and we were trying to implement them for all this time. Meantime, Russian Federation already by their actions, they withdraw themselves from any agreements and from that particular as well. But through supporting their marionettes that they posed there in Donbass, they were controlling 400 kilometers of our border. They were bringing their troops, military equipment to Ukrainian territory. They were threatening our people. Meantime, delivering to the people, first of all, to the people inside of Russia, because, media are totally controlled there, and delivering the message outside as their position, official position, as if Ukraine has a civil war. And you will see this narrative from them. And that we were killing our own people. Meantime, they were for 8 years killing our people, 14,000 people. I will not stop saying this. Just listen this number. It's not Russian aggression that started now. Now it's just full-scale operation. 14,000 for 8 years. 1.5 million internally displaced people. How many people wounded? How many damaged families? So, and then according to the Minsk agreement, coming back to that point, maybe I'm getting a little bit, how to say it, emotional, but because I'm meantime following the news. So I think that the Minsk agreements still could be implemented if the processes would allow Ukraine to control its territory in the framework of its borders. But Russians who were controlling Donbass, they were not willing to do so. So they needed the control, but we have to understand that this is something that they planned for a long time, the same as they planned the annexation of Crimea. And we were telling this to the world through diplomatic channels, and we were telling this to media. Look, this is what is going to happen. Now it's happening. And one part of the world is still quite silent.
Yes. Now, also, Ambassador, if you could just provide clarity, because we know that under dispute is the recognition or the non-recognition or the formal recognition of the two breakaway republics of Donetsk and Lugansk as sovereign independent nations. And just your thoughts, and just to provide clarity as far as these two breakaway republics are concerned, because this is also central to this conflict.
There is not such an international entity as these two republics. This is the sovereign territory of Ukraine. And now another country is coming to this independent country, is saying, listen, we decide to support these two regions of Ukraine. And we would like to recognize their independence. And meantime, we will come with our troops. That's what is happening.
So
you can implement this on any country. Try to implement it in South Africa, if some of neighbors would do the same.
Exactly.
Claiming that some parties of the country would speak their language.
Right. Now, just looking at Russia now, we know that Russia has been wanting a regime change in Ukraine for a very, very long time, and looking at a more friendly or a Russian-friendly government. And this, for the last few years, has been also a major issue as far as Russia is concerned, Ambassador.
With all my respect, but listen what you are saying. Let me repeat your words. Russia wants the regime to change in Ukraine. So the sovereign state that, by the way, with more than 70% of population democratically choosing their president, and all the world recognizes the government, is calling, because they don't want this pro-European country on their border, and they called it a regime, and they want to change it. How it come across with the international law and with the principle of sovereignty?
Yes, Ambassador, we're going to put you on hold. We're going to go for a quick ad break. We'll be back with you in a minute.
Thank you.
Nasiri Product is your one-stop health shop. Fresh dates directly from Medina Al Munawwara, available for Ramadan and all year long. We're also stockists of nuts, honey, figs, pure olive oil, oats mixed with dates and nuts, and other varieties of healthy food products in store. Contact us on 011 075 5770 or WhatsApp us on 073 565 9355. Visit our website at www.nasiriproduct.co.za. We are located in Fordsburg, 1792 Albertina Sisulu Road, opposite Shan Spices. Nasiri Products.
What makes Randery Jewelers the optimum place for your memorable gift? Is it our range of exclusive, high-end, luxurious jewellery? Or is it our master craftsmanship of all your bespoke jewellery needs? We believe it's because at Randery Jewelers, we know just how to make your special moments last forever. Whether it's for a wedding, anniversary, or just a simple gift to show your love, trust Randery Jewelers to make it special. www.randeryjewelers.com. Make your moments last forever with Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
Did you know that through Sanzaf, you can provide a meal to an individual for only 12 Rand? By committing to a monthly contribution, you can assist us in reaching out to more communities and deserving individuals. A once-off donation will also be highly appreciated in helping us achieve our monthly target. For more information, call us on 011 834 6046. Sanzaf, changing lives through development and relief.
Babu, why don't you loosen your belt a bit more?
But why now?
Well, it's very tight, blocking air to your brain.
Haju, this is only a start. I need to tighten up a bit more. Funds are tight and the cost of living is high.
Funds are not tight. It's your haram insurance which is tightening our barakat.
Okay, Haju. I will call my insurance friend tomorrow.
Maybe I must tighten up on my cooking from now on too.
No, Haju, we don't need to tighten up. It's okay. Look, I'm even throwing away my belt.
Don't tighten your belt. Change your insurance. Leaving Riba Insurance is easier than you think. Call Amana IFS for all your personal and commercial Takaful needs. 0861 786 393. Amana, leave Riba for good. Amana IFS is a registered financial services provider.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
The time is just gone 8:26 a.m. as we continue this morning unpacking the Russian-Ukrainian conflict and the crisis that is taking place in that part of the world. And clearly there are huge consequences for the rest of the world. And this morning we are unpacking this crisis with Her Excellency Ms. Liubov Abravitova, who is the Ukrainian ambassador to South Africa. Ambassador, just to continue, and one issue of major concern is the nuclear debate that is playing out in this conflict, where we see Russia making claims that this is a US-provoked nuclear crisis initiated by the United States of America to neutralize the nuclear capabilities of Russia. And you've also mentioned this in a tweet where you've expressed huge concern, particularly with regard to Chernobyl. We know what had taken place in 1986. And we have now learned that Ukraine has lost its control of the Chernobyl nuclear site.
Yes, obviously the Chernobyl is of a great concern for Ukraine because, you know, this disaster is the global disaster. And it is our concern how Russians will operate now on that territory and how they will be using this to threat other countries. Answering about the United States, I want to tell you that United States did not invade Ukraine and their troops are not now killing Ukrainians. These are Russians. So don't bring other actors to play here. This is the conflict now between Ukraine and Russia. But when you are speaking globally about the threat of nuclear weapons, I would like to remind to our listeners that Ukraine abandoned its nuclear weapons according to the memorandum on security assurances in connection with Ukraine's accession to the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. And 4 countries were signing this memorandum, and 3 of them were guaranteeing to Ukraine to support its territorial integrity and sovereignty. And among them was Russia. Another one was Great Britain. And third one was the United States. So I think that when we are speaking about nuclear weapons, we have to understand that these 2, except excluding Russia, are still responsible under this memorandum for our territorial integrity. And that's why we are appealing to them today to support us military, to support us to fight Russia.
Yes. Now, also, Ambassador, let's talk about the humanitarian crisis, because this has got a potential of devastating humanitarian consequences, and also looking at people that will be fleeing to neighboring countries. And I'm sure that is of major concern to you, for the people of Ukraine and also the Ukrainian government.
Of course it is. Any crisis is going along with humanitarian component. But in this particular case, we are speaking about full-scale war. So the consequences will be very devastating. And it will affect not only Ukraine, as you said, and not only the neighboring to Ukraine countries. Economically, it will have a global impact.
Now, we've seen reaction come through from the rest of the world. We've seen the United Nations. We've seen even the likes of NATO issuing a statement calling this attack as a brutal act of war on the part of Russia. We've seen the US President Joe Biden saying that Vladimir Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. And at the same time, we see sanctions against Russia. We've seen assets of Russian banks being blocked, coming both from the United States, from the United Kingdom. So there is a lot of international condemnation, but also at the same time, looking at the reaction, the sanctions as well, and more importantly, the concern on how this is likely to impact globally. We've seen markets tumbling, we've seen oil price rising. So already we are seeing huge international consequences, Ambassador.
Of course, we see it, but we don't think that there is another option as of now to stop Russia. So we really call for even harsher and more strong sanctions against Russia. I also think that it would be very important to exclude Russia from all the major organizations. The state aggressor cannot sit in the United Nations Security Council. I think we should question this as well.
Mm-hmm. And just looking at South Africa and the South African position, because you are the ambassador to South Africa, and looking at South Africa being part of BRICS as well. And I know you've made this call to our own president, Cyril Ramaphosa, to impose sanctions on Russia.
We received two statements of the government of Ukraine in the row, and I think that yesterday's statement was very strong, and South African government called on Russia to respect sovereignty and to withdraw its troops from the territory of Ukraine. The message is clear.
Mm-hmm. And just finally, Ambassador, we know Russia has been launching this full-scale military attack. Just looking at Ukraine and the response, and because we have learned that obviously the Ukrainian government military is fighting back on multiple fronts.
I will not be tired to say that Ukraine today has the strongest army in Europe. And unfortunately, if I can say so, that's Russians who made us that strong. And we were ready for their attacks. We are standing and staying very strong. We support our military forces. We believe in them. And we know that the truth is on our side and that we will win this war.
Well, thank you very much for that, and also for taking time out this morning, talking to us here on Salam Media on News and Views. We do appreciate it, Ambassador Liubov Abravitova. We certainly do appreciate it, and we trust and hope that at some point in time, sanity prevails, and we can actually make this world a more peaceful place.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Ambassador Liubov Abravitova was us this morning, the ambassador, the Ukrainian ambassador to South Africa, unpacking what is taking place in that part of the world. The time is just gone, 8:34 a.m. We're going to go for a break. We'll be back.